Welcome to My Book Library. A very warm and sincere welcome to you, cherished listener, to My Book Library. Today, we embark on a deep and transformative journey through one of the most foundational texts on human relations ever written. We are about to explore Dale Carnegie's timeless masterpiece, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is not merely a book. It is a course in human understanding, first published in 1936. Its principles have weathered economic booms and busts, technological revolutions, and vast social changes, yet they remain as potent and applicable today as they were nearly a century ago. This is because Carnegie did not write about fleeting trends. He wrote about the fundamental, unchanging drivers of human nature. Our deep-seated desire for feeling important, our craving for appreciation, and our resistance to criticism. Over the next extensive session, we will not just skim the surface. We will immerse ourselves in the full depth and detail of Carnegie's work. We will walk through every core principle, illustrated with the original stories and anecdotes that make his lessons so memorable. We will explore the fundamental techniques for handling people, the 6 ways to make people like you, the 12 methods for winning people to your way of thinking, and the 9 key principles for being a leader who inspires change. This is designed to be a comprehensive guide, giving you not just the what, but the why and the how behind each idea. So find a comfortable space and let us begin this essential journey into the art of dealing with people. Part 1. Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. This opening section lays the philosophical bedrock for the entire book. Carnegie argues that to effectively handle people, we must move beyond our own perspective and understand the core motivations that drive every single person we meet. Principle 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Carnegie begins with what might be his most powerful and counterintuitive principle. He asserts that criticism is a dangerous game, for it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts their sense of importance, and arouses resentment. This resentment can be deep and long-lasting. He illustrates this with the stark example of the notorious outlaw Two-Gun Crowley. As he was cornered by police, Crowley wrote a note saying, "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm." This was a man who had just killed police officers, yet he saw himself not as a villain, but as a victim who had never been treated fairly. Carnegie's point is profound. Even the most vicious criminals will justify themselves and blame others. The logical conclusion is that the people you and I deal with in our daily lives are no different in their core psychology. When we criticize, we are not making things better. We are often making them worse by creating an enemy. Instead of condemning people, we should try to understand them. We should try to figure out why they do what they do. That is a far more profitable and fascinating approach. As the great psychologist B.F. Skinner demonstrated through his experiments, an animal rewarded for good behavior will learn much more rapidly and retain what it learns far more effectively than an animal punished for bad behavior. Later studies have shown the same is true for humans. Criticism, Carnegie warns, puts fools on the defensive and makes them strive to justify themselves. It is far more effective to address our own understanding and to replace the impulse to criticize with a posture of empathy. Principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Here, Carnegie makes a critical distinction that is the difference between success and failure in human relations. The difference between appreciation and flattery. Flattery is cheap and insincere. It is telling the other person exactly what they think about themselves. It is often transparent and self-serving. Appreciation, on the other hand, is genuine and from the heart. It is specific, thoughtful, and given without an immediate expectation of return. Carnegie roots this in a fundamental human craving, quoting William James, the father of American psychology, who said, "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated." This is not just a desire or a want. It is a gnawing, unfilled hunger. People will work tirelessly for a feeling of importance. They will starve for it. This hunger is what drives people to build great monuments, compose symphonies, and seek fame and fortune. By offering honest and sincere appreciation, you are speaking directly to this profound human need. You are providing a form of sustenance that is more valuable than almost anything else. But you must be careful, Carnegie warns. Flattery is like counterfeit money. It will eventually get you into trouble if you try to pass it. Appreciation is the genuine currency of the heart. Principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This third fundamental technique is about a complete shift in perspective. It asks you to stop thinking about what you want and start thinking about what the other person wants. The only way on earth to influence other people, Carnegie states, is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. He uses the simple, perfect analogy of fishing. When you go fishing, ... you don't bait your hook with strawberries and cream, which you personally might love. You bait it with a worm or a grasshopper, because that is what the fish wants. This principle applies to every interaction. If you want your child to stop smoking, don't lecture them about what you want. Instead, show them how smoking might keep them from making the basketball team or being attractive to their peers. If you want a customer to buy your product, don't talk about your features. Talk about how your product solves their specific problem or fulfills their specific desire. The world is full of people who are self-seeking. The rare individual who unselfishly tries to serve others, who looks at things from their point of view, has an enormous advantage and faces little competition. Remember, tomorrow you may want to persuade somebody to do something. Before you speak, pause and ask yourself, how can I make this person want to do it?
Part 2. 6 ways to make people like you. This section moves from broad philosophy to specific, actionable social techniques. Carnegie provides a clear roadmap for building rapport, becoming more likable, and forming genuine friendships. Principle 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. Carnegie makes a stunningly simple but profound statement here. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Yet, how many of us spend our social energy trying to be interesting? We talk about our accomplishments, our opinions, our stories, but the reality is that people are not interested in you. They are interested in themselves, morning, noon, and after dinner. The individual who does not express interest in others will encounter great difficulty in life. Carnegie points to dogs as a perfect example. A dog doesn't read books or have a prestigious job. Yet it makes friends effortlessly by showing genuine, unconditional interest the moment it meets you. If we simply emulated this one trait, an unfeigned, heartfelt interest in others, we would find doors opening for us everywhere. So, remember to ask questions. Remember the details of people's lives. Follow up on their passions. This is the cornerstone of all likability. Principle 2. Smile. Actions speak louder than words, and a smile says, I like you. You make me happy. I am glad to see you. A smile is a simple, powerful tool that costs nothing but creates much. It enriches those who receive it without impoverishing those who give it. It happens in a flash, but the memory of it can last a lifetime. Carnegie cites the case of a department store manager
who found that a simple, enforced rule for sales clerks to smile transformed the atmosphere and increased sales. He urges us to force ourselves to smile, not just when we feel like it, but as a disciplined practice.
If you are alone, force yourself to whistle or hum a tune or sing. Act as if you are already happy, and that will tend to make you happy. Happiness does not always come from virtue. Often, virtue comes from acting happy. So, let your smile be a simple, first step offering of goodwill. Principle 3. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. This principle delves into the psychology of identity. A person's name is the core of their individuality. It is what sets them apart from the mass of humanity. It makes them unique. Remembering and using a person's name is a subtle but incredibly effective form of compliment. It makes them feel seen and important. Conversely, forgetting or mispronouncing a name can create an immediate and lasting barrier. Carnegie shares the example of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who knew that one of the simplest, most obvious, and most important ways of gaining goodwill was by remembering names. He would spend time before a political event, meticulously reviewing the names and backgrounds of the people he was about to meet. The ability to recall a name instantly was a significant part of his political charisma. We should all take the time and effort to do the same. Whether we are meeting a new client, a new employee, or a new neighbor. Principle 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. To be interesting, be interested. This principle is the active practice of becoming genuinely interested in others. Ask questions that the other person will enjoy answering. Encourage them to talk about themselves and their accomplishments. People will think you are a brilliant conversationalist if you allow them to talk about what matters most to them. Carnegie tells a story about a dinner party where he met a botanist. He didn't talk about himself at all. He just listened, fascinated, as the botanist spoke about his field. At the end of the night, the botanist told the host that Carnegie was a most interesting conversationalist. The irony, of course, is that Carnegie had hardly spoken. He had been a good listener. The truth is that many people fail to make a favorable impression because they don't listen attentively. They are so concerned with what they are going to say next that they don't keep their ears open. A good listener is not only popular everywhere, but after a while, they get to know something. Listening is a learning tool. Principle 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. The royal road to a person's heart, Carnegie writes, is to talk about the things they treasure most. He illustrates this with Theodore Roosevelt, who was a master of this technique. Every guest, whether a cowboy, a diplomat, or a politician, was astonished at Roosevelt's range of knowledge. The secret was simple. The evening before a visitor arrived, Roosevelt would stay up late reading up on the subject in which he knew his guest was particularly interested. He made a conscious, diligent effort to talk about what interested his visitors. This principle is a direct application of the fundamental idea of arousing an eager want. When you talk to people about what they are interested in, you are giving them what they want. It benefits both parties. The conversation is more enjoyable for them, and you become a more welcome and valued presence. Principle 6. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. This final principle of this section is the ultimate summary of all the previous 5. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, is expressed here as making others feel as important as you yourself want to feel. By showing interest, smiling, using their name, listening, and talking about their interests, you're fulfilling this profound human craving. But Carnegie hammers home the key word, sincerely. He repeats it. This is not about a series of manipulative tricks. People can detect insincerity from a great distance. It must be heartfelt. It must be genuine. If you merely try to flatter people to get what you want, you will ultimately fail. But if you genuinely seek to understand, appreciate, and value others, you will find that you have won not just influence, but true friends. Part 3. How to win people to your way of thinking. This is the largest section of the book, containing 12 powerful principles for persuasion, debate, and guiding conversations toward a positive outcome without creating conflict. Principle 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Carnegie's stance on arguments is absolute. You cannot win. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you lose. Why? Because by winning the argument, you have made the other person feel inferior. You have hurt their pride. They will resent your triumph. It is far more profitable to look for areas of agreement, to control your temper, and to listen first. Welcome the disagreement, he says. Thank them for bringing it to your attention. It might be your chance to be corrected before you make a serious mistake. Postpone action to give both sides time to think through the problem. The goal is not victory in a skirmish, but long-term goodwill and a correct solution. Principle 2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." Telling someone they are wrong is a direct frontal assault on their intelligence, judgment, and pride. It's a challenge that only arouses opposition and makes the person want to fight back with all their might. It is far more effective to be diplomatic. You can say, "Well, now look, I thought otherwise, but I may be wrong. I frequently am. And if I am wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts." This disarms the other person completely. There is no battle to be fought. By admitting you may be wrong, you open the door to a rational discussion rather than a heated argument. You can never be sorry for starting a conversation with humility. Principle 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. When you know you are wrong, beat the other person to it. Get it over with, and do it emphatically. By condemning yourself, you take the wind out of the other person's sails. It's much harder for someone to stay angry with you when you are already criticizing yourself more harshly than they ever could. Carnegie shares a personal story of walking his dog without a leash, and when confronted by a policeman, he admitted his fault so quickly and thoroughly that the policeman ended up defending him. There is a certain degree of satisfaction in having the courage to admit one's errors. It not only clears the air of guilt and defensiveness, but also helps solve the problem created by the error. Principle 4. Begin in a friendly way. If your opening is one of anger and accusation, you have put the other person in a defensive posture for the entire conversation. It is like asking a chemist for distilled water, but starting by kicking their door down. A drop of honey, Carnegie reminds us, can catch more flies than a gallon of gall. If you begin with a friendly approach, an atmosphere of goodwill, people are far more likely to be receptive to your point of view. This is true whether you are a manager addressing an employee, a salesperson meeting a client, or a parent talking to a child. The tone of the opening determines the music of the entire piece. Principle 5. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. This is a technique of skillful conversation. Start by emphasizing and keep emphasizing the things on which you agree. Keep stressing, if possible, that you are both striving for the same end and that your only difference is one of method, not of purpose. Get the other person saying yes, yes at the outset. Do not let them say no. A no response, Carnegie explains, is a most difficult handicap to overcome. When a person says no and really means it, they are not just saying a word. Their entire organism, glandular, nervous, muscular, gathers itself together to reject your idea.
is far more effective to guide the conversation from the start along a path of yes responses, so that the answer to your final request is a natural and almost inevitable culmination.
Principle 6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. Don't try to dominate the conversation, especially when you are trying to persuade. Let the other person talk themselves out. They know more about their business and problems than you do. So ask them questions and let them tell you a few things. This is not only flattering, but also gives you invaluable insight into their perspective, their objections, and their true desires, which you can then use to frame your own suggestions in a way that appeals directly to them. It is a strategy of listening to win. Principle 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is theirs. No one likes to feel that they are being sold something or told what to do. We much prefer to feel that we are acting on our own ideas. We like to be consulted about our wishes, our wants, our thoughts. Let them feel the idea is theirs. This requires patience and subtle guidance. You plant the seed and let them water it. The sense of ownership they feel will lead to a much deeper and more passionate commitment to the idea's success. Principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Carnegie revisits this theme because it is so critical. Other people may often be wrong, but they don't think so. Don't condemn them. Any fool can do that. Try to understand them. Success in dealing with people depends on a sympathetic grasp of the other person's viewpoint. Before you ask someone to see things your way, you must first make a sincere effort to see things from where they are standing. This builds a bridge of empathy that makes persuasion possible. Principle 9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. This is the practical application of seeing their point of view. 3/4 of the people you will ever meet are hungering and thirsting for sympathy. Give it to them, and they will love you. Instead of meeting an objection with a question, try meeting it with sympathy. I don't blame you one iota for feeling as you do. If I were you, I would undoubtedly feel just as you do. Such a response, Carnegie says, can soften the most cantankerous person. It makes them feel that you are on their side, that you understand them. It is the oil that cools the friction of disagreement. Principle 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. People like to think of themselves as acting from noble motives. J. Pierpont Morgan observed that a person usually has 2 reasons for doing a thing, one that sounds good and a real one. The person will dwell on the real reason, but you, in your appeal, should focus on the nobler motive. If you want to influence someone, appeal to their higher ideals. For instance, a bank wanting to repossess a car might not talk about the contract, but about the bank's duty to its depositors and shareholders. A company might appeal to a potential executive not just with a high salary, but with the challenge and honor of turning around a struggling division. Frame your request in the context of honor, duty, fairness, and contribution. Principle 11. Dramatize your ideas. Merely stating a truth isn't enough in a world full of competing messages. The truth has to be made vivid, interesting, and dramatic. You have to use showmanship. This is the age of Hollywood and media. You must dramatize your ideas to catch people's attention. This doesn't mean being dishonest. It means presenting your ideas in a compelling, memorable way. Use props, tell a powerful story, create a visual metaphor. Make your point come alive. Principle 12. Throw down a challenge. The thing that most motivates people, especially people of high ability, is the love of a game and the chance to prove their worth and excel. It is the desire to excel, the love of a good fight, the craving for a feeling of importance. Throw down a challenge. This is what drives people to achieve great feats in business,
science, and the arts. Presenting a task not as work, but as an interesting, difficult challenge can spark incredible enthusiasm and effort. The chance for a feeling of importance that comes from overcoming a difficult obstacle is a powerful motivator. 130 to 155. Part 4. Be a leader. How to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. This final section shifts the focus to leadership, providing principles for guiding, correcting, and inspiring people to be their best. Principle 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. It is always easier to listen to unpleasant things after we have heard some praise of our good points. Beginning with praise is like the dentist who begins his work with Novocaine. The patient still gets the drilling, but the Novocaine numbs the pain. So when you need to correct someone, start by acknowledging their strengths and contributions. This makes them receptive to the constructive criticism that follows. It's the sandwich method, a layer of praise, the meat of the critique, followed by another layer of encouragement and confidence. Principle 2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. You can often help others save face by using indirect language. The classic example Carnegie gives is of Charles Schwab walking through one of his steel mills and seeing some men smoking under a no smoking sign. Instead of pointing at the sign and berating them, he handed them cigars and said, "I'll appreciate it, boys, if you will smoke these on the outside." He knew they had broken a rule, and they admired him because he said nothing about it and gave them a little present and made them feel important. It's the difference between a direct accusation and a gentle, indirect suggestion that allows the person to correct themselves with their dignity intact. Principle 3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Admitting your own fallibility makes you a more relatable and less critical figure. It's much easier to listen to a leader who says, "I made a stupid blunder years ago, and I see you might be heading down a similar path. Let me show you," rather than one who barks, "You're doing it all wrong." By recounting your own errors, you are not setting yourself up as a perfect judge, but as a sympathetic coach who has been there before. It's a humble approach that doesn't provoke resentment. Principle 4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. No one likes to take orders. It bruises the ego. Instead of saying, "Do this," or "Don't do that," try saying, "You might consider this," or "Do you think that would work?" or "Perhaps this way might be better." This gives the other person a sense of participation and ownership. They feel that they are following their own idea. People are more likely to follow an order if they have had a part in the decision that caused it to be issued. Asking questions not only makes an order more palatable, but often stimulates the creativity of the person you are asking. They may come up with a better method than you had in mind. Principle 5. Let the other person save face. This principle cannot be overemphasized. An axiom of true leadership is to preserve a person's pride. Even if you are right and the other person is definitely wrong, you only destroy their ego by causing them to lose face. French author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry wrote, "I have no right to say or do anything that diminishes a man in his own eyes. What matters is not what I think of him, but what he thinks of himself. Hurting a man in his dignity is a crime. A true leader will always find a way to deliver criticism or enact a change without publicly humiliating the individual involved." Principle 6. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. People thrive on encouragement, especially when they are learning or improving. Abilities wither under criticism. They blossom under encouragement. Be alert for the smallest improvements. and comment on them. This "let's give them a fine reputation to live up to" approach inspires people to grow into the positive image you have of them. As psychologist B. F. Skinner demonstrated, behavior that is rewarded is far more likely to be repeated than behavior that is punished. Be generous with your praise.
It is a fuel for growth.
Principle 7. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. If you want to improve a person in a certain respect, act as though that particular trait were already one of their outstanding characteristics. Shakespeare said, "Assume a virtue if you have it not." It can be a powerful technique. Tell a new employee, "You have a reputation for being punctual and thorough," and they will likely work hard to live up to that reputation from day one. Give a child a reputation for being honest and kind, and they will be loath to let that reputation down. It is a positive, uplifting form of expectation that inspires people to meet the high standard you have set for them. Principle 8. Use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. If you tell your child, your spouse, or your employee that they are stupid or clumsy at a certain thing,
you have destroyed almost every incentive they have to try to improve. You have reinforced a negative self-image. But if you use the opposite technique, if you are liberal with your encouragement, if you make the thing seem easy to do, if you let the other person know that you have faith in their ability to do it, they will practice until the dawn comes in the window in order to excel. Make the goal seem attainable. Break it down into small, easy-to-correct steps. Principle 9. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. The final principle of leadership is about alignment and motivation. A leader must make their followers happy about doing what the leader suggests. This means being sincere, knowing exactly what you want the person to do, being empathetic, considering the benefits the other person will receive, and matching those benefits to the person's wants. When you frame a request not as a command, but as an action that will bring them genuine benefit, satisfaction, or a feeling of importance, you achieve true, willing, and enthusiastic cooperation. The timeless wisdom of human relations. And so we reach the conclusion of our deep and detailed exploration of how to win friends and influence people. The overarching message of Dale Carnegie's work is that success in human relations is not a matter of manipulative tricks or clever tactics. It is built on a foundation of genuine character change, of becoming a person who is authentically interested in others, who offers sincere appreciation freely, and who possesses a deep and abiding understanding of human nature. The principles we have discussed, from the fundamental act of avoiding criticism to the leadership skill of making others happy to follow your suggestions, form a comprehensive roadmap for building stronger, more positive, and ethical relationships. And more productive relationships in every single area of your life. In the boardroom, in the marketplace, in your community, and most importantly, within the walls of your own home with your family and loved ones. Remember, this knowledge is not truly yours until it is applied. It is not enough to simply hear these principles. You must use them. Carnegie himself suggests a plan. Take one principle each week and focus on it. Carry it with you. Look for opportunities to apply it. Keep a journal of your efforts. It is this constant, mindful practice that will transform these ideas from words on a page into ingrained habits of character. This is not a one-time study, but a lifelong practice. The rewards, however, are immeasurable. Richer friendships, greater influence, less conflict, and a more fulfilling and successful life. Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to this comprehensive audio summary in My Book Library.
Thank you.